Nigeria is a tough place to be queer.
If a trans person encountered danger, it's only you and God.
But in one beautiful section of the culture, queer Nigerians are finding ways to carve out a place for themselves.
Tell your face to them.
Even as the state increasingly targets them.
The real ugliness of Nigerian politics comes in when there's supposed to be like a transition.
We don't want you to accept us. We want you to give us equal rights. Period.
I went to Lagos to see how trans people are negotiating visibility and its costs, all while trying to stay safe. I'm Kamari Romeo. This is Transnational. So we're here at rehearsals for Lagos Fashion Week. This is the biggest fashion event in Africa, and I'm so excited to be here, not only because it's my first fashion week, but because it's the first time an openly trans person will be walking in it. Lagos's fashion scene is one of the few spaces where queer Nigerians can boldly challenge gender norms.
Straight line down, all left, up the side, and posing on the side.
Fola Francis is one of them.
Hi, Fola.
Hi.
All right, so heels or flats?
Heels, because I have to look pretty, even though like they're uncomfortable. Yeah, heels for sure.
Fola's best known for her social media content, where she talks about being trans, daily life, and fashion. How are you feeling about walking in Lagos Fashion Week?
Still crazy that I'm going to be the first trans person doing it. Because like this is 2022, you know. So, but at the same time, I'm just grateful to have this opportunity to like pave the way essentially for like more trans people to walk the show. I just want to make sure like I kill it and do great at least. This stage is looking a little too glossy. Like, what if I sleep on?
It's really glossy.
I know.
Some trans and queer trendsetters are growing their profiles within Nigeria's fashion industry, which has seen a rise in gender-fluid fashion. Making it on the main stage is a different story. Do you feel like the industry are accepting of trans people?
No, they're not. Once you're very vocal about your queerness, irrespective like if you're trans, non-binary or lesbian or whatever, like it's almost like it becomes a problem with them. Like, okay, you're doing so much, you're so much. Yeah, I'm just keeping it 100. That's the way it is. I mean, at the end of the day, I still got this platform. That's because I kept knocking on the door, you know, till it got opened to me.
While queer acceptance in the fashion industry is somewhat ambiguous, what lies outside that bubble is brutally clear. In 2014, lawmakers passed the Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act, one of the world's harshest anti-LGBTQ laws, and reports of arrests and violence against queer people spiked. The law didn't just ban same-sex unions. It also criminalized the registration of LGBTQ organizations and public displays of affection. In 2018, police raided a hotel birthday party, arresting over 50 people for what they called a homosexual initiation. 2 years later, the charges were dismissed. Then last summer, 3 gay men in the northern part of the country were sentenced to death by stoning. Being openly queer in Nigeria means constantly being at risk of assault and extortion. So when Fola's TikTok about her transition went viral last year, she was threatened outside her apartment that she had to flee for months. She also says she's been robbed and beaten by catfishers.
I am thankful that in my case, I just got some beating and it took my money and my phone. And I was able to escape after like 6 hours of them holding me. You get ambushed by other people, even threatening to kill you or rape you or whatever, or even worse.
None of this has deterred her from being open and visible about who she is. In fact, it led her to fashion.
I just needed something to put all that trauma into, somewhere to put all this feeling I was feeling, and I did not want to like, you know, kill myself. So I just like, you know what, let me start my clothing line, and it has been very helpful. This is my logo, Fola Francis, FF. This is going to be pressed onto the shirt here.
In 2018, she started a line of statement t-shirts.
I came up with Ask Me About My Pronouns because at the time, I identified as non-binary person, and whenever I tell people my pronouns, they will always like Yeah, are you sure? What does this mean? Da, 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 da. The t-shirt kind of like resonated with a lot of people, a lot of queer people, and it is now like my best-selling t-shirt now. Since this. And then during the NSAS period, we created a t-shirt that basically says Queer Lives Matter to all the queer activists that were on ground at the protests.
Just shoot him.
In 2020, young people across Nigeria took to the streets to call out years of unchecked police brutality. It was the biggest uprising in a generation, and suddenly, queer rights were in the spotlight like they had never been before.
Queer lives matter! I love Queer lives matter!
Hi. Fola's friends were among the more visible voices during that time. What have your experiences been with law enforcement?
My experiences with the police is always worse when I have my people with me. When I have my partner in the car who is very mask presenting, as soon as they see them, stop, calm down. And I immediately get into this place where I have to become almost protective of them and try to step in front of them and talk to the police, like talk to me instead. The way things can escalate, I'm always just worried, are we going to get home safe? That's always my fear.
I don't feel like I get profiled by the police because I have the privilege to pass as a cis woman, but I read so many stories of trans people that have gotten profiled by them every time.
My experience with the law enforcement agents in Nigeria has been very, very awful. I have been detained twice by them for just being femme and perceived gay. So they detained me for some hours and slapped me, beat me up. So my experience with them has left me with trauma. That is also the reality of a lot of femme or non-binary trans queer people. So it's a very crazy situation.
As if things weren't already difficult, lawmakers went even farther in April 2022 and introduced a bill banning cross-dressing. But this time, it sparked the country's first openly queer protest. What are your thoughts on the so-called cross-dressing bill?
I'm just tired. It's just another ploy to rally Nigerians and get votes from them, because one thing the government and the citizens can all agree on is their collective hate for queer people and queerness. But now, there are a lot of us that are living fearless, like we don't care anymore. We don't want you to accept us. We want you to give us equal rights. Period.
One group that has been showing up for Nigeria's queer community is Tears. Remi Makinde is the interim head of the organization, which was founded before the government ban on queer advocacy groups went into effect, so they're still able to continue their work.
Different people come here for different reasons. It could be to just find a safe space. It could be to see a medical doctor, or the nurse, or pick up drugs, and things like that. Sometimes they also come to report human rights violations.
For the past 2 years, Makinde has been documenting human rights abuses and providing pro bono legal aid. How do you find that the laws in Nigeria affect queer Nigerians?
The most recent discriminatory law, which is the Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act of 2014, doesn't actually say you cannot identify as gay, you cannot identify as trans. So I could go on the street and say I am a lesbian. No one can actually arrest me. You can arrest me because you want to abuse your power, but you don't actually have the legal framework to imprison me.
So why do you feel the cross-dressing bill is emerging now?
The real ugliness of Nigerian politics comes in when there's supposed to be like a transition. It's not surprising that the cross-dresser bill is being introduced now when election is just a few months away. It's just a way to kind of bring the people together. Queer issues are like the low-hanging fruit that politicians could use to kind of like unite or solidify their support.
How does class affect how trans or queer Nigerians move through the world?
Honestly, everything is easier in Nigeria with money. There are rumors that politicians are queer in Nigeria, that some artists are queer in Nigeria, but police officers are not going to touch them or harass them because they have money, they're highly connected. But in Nigeria, a lot of trans people don't have that kind of resource, like no support at all.
What are some of the most common requests or calls that you get from queer Nigerians?
The absolute first request is safe house. Trying to live an unsafe environment to a place that is safe. And we don't have a lot of safe houses in Nigeria.
I wanted to find out what trans people do when they have nowhere to go. If you search for trans rights orgs in Nigeria, one of the few groups that comes up is Creme de la Creme. They have 2 safe houses, one in Abuja and one here in Lagos.
Is it yours? Yeah.
This is Rihanna, who helps manage the safe house, which she says has 4 residents. Can you tell us about how it feels to be a visible trans woman?
When I came out that this is who I am, my family sent me out of the house. At that time, I was just 19 years. Every single day of my life is full of sorrow. I've been raped, I've been kidnapped, I've been beaten, I've been arrested. So, what is hope? What is hope? There's no hope for me anymore.
What did the trans people here do if they feel in danger? Where can they go? Or
if a trans person encountered danger, it's only you and God. Because trans community, we don't have nothing. When it comes to mental health, that we have any kind of stigma and discrimination, there's nowhere to go to. Maybe if you're a smoker, smoke yourself up. If you know how to drink, drink, and at that time you forget all your sorrow. There's no fraud.
And I've heard it's a very expensive state as well. So how do people get by? How do people make money?
For we trans women, we engage in sex. As I am, I'm a sex worker, and I know there's a lot of danger, but there's nothing we can do. At least we have to survive.
So you're saying basically there's times when you go out and you don't know if you're going to come back?
Yes, a lot. I used to put that in the back of my mind, that God, I am going out. I know I might not come back to this saver, but just protect me.
What do you feel would happen if you didn't have access to the safe house?
That would be so terrible and bitter. Because if you don't have access to the saver, so where will we stay? Do you know how many trans people under the bridge, homeless, walking from one place to another without a shelter?
A few days after our conversation with Rihanna, a trans man named Pappy, who volunteers with the organization, told us the safe house was actually inactive, and that the executive director, Franklin Ejiogu, had asked him to help arrange for trans women to be there during our visit, to make it look like it was still running. Pappy says he feels guilty for referring trans people to the organization. I gave him a call to find out more.
Hello?
Hi there, is that Pappy?
Yeah.
How long has the safe house been inactive?
2 to 3 months now.
Okay.
Like no occupant at all.
So how long after you started working at the safe house did you notice that maybe things weren't as they should be?
Yes, even from the first day. Because when we went to ShopRite to shop for things that we have to put in the safe house for the first time ever, Frank did not include feeding.
He didn't include food for the residents?
At all. At all. He said if he can provide shelter where they lay their head, he believed that they can sort for themselves. That was our first argument.
Pappy said he left Creme de la Creme after 5 months in 2020, but kept helping Franklin on a voluntary basis. If you had suspicions from the first day, why did you decide to participate in the staging of the safe house?
After I had left, the first time he would call me to talk to me about having a meeting with one of the founders or donors, that I should do this for him and I will see what he will do for community members. He made so many promises for my community. All these people in Nigeria, many of them, not all the organizations, what they do is they use we community members like tools, like a bait, just to get what they want to enrich themselves.
So why did you decide to speak up now?
Because I am tired. And I speak up now not because I want to take what Fry is supposed to take, no. I speak up now for the people thinking that they are doing something for my community. Do see the healthy. That they are not doing anything. They are only doing it directly for Franklin. That is why I speak up now.
We reached out to former residents about their experiences, but they declined to comment in fear of backlash. One did share concerns about financial transparency and a lack of support given to residents. But Creme de la Creme's executive director argues there is financial transparency and decisions are made by a board of trustees and management staff. He also says their safe houses don't have funding. As I replayed everything, the more it hit home how finding a genuinely safe space as a trans person is a risky exercise in trust, especially when you don't have options. I was starting to see two extremes to the trans experience in Lagos. One end is just about basic survival, while on the other are small bubbles where you can thrive and seemingly be celebrated, like Lagos Fashion Week.
Fashion Week, what are you saying?
Nerves and excitement are high as Fola prepares to walk.
God win.
A historic moment for her, even as Parliament considers a bill to police how people dress.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell myself this is a walk in the park, this is my life, this is easy, I'm here to take up space, this is regular, saying all that so I believe it enough to not freak out. After we did the rehearsals, I think they calmed down a little bit, so now I kind of know what I'm getting myself into, and I think I'm going to kill it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to begin.
Fola, I need soul in this work. Like have a soul. I need a soul. Bring it hard. You killed it. Thank you so much. Oh, you thank you. Wow. Well done. Thank you.
Fola's runway debut was celebrated online, but a few days later, she called out Lagos Fashion Week organizers for allegedly instructing their team not to share any photos of her on social media. A queer designer show was also reportedly pulled from the schedule for being too queer. Lagos Fashion Week did not respond to our request for comment, but the aftermath shows how even queer-friendly environments here can come with strings attached. A sobering reminder that what's considered a safe space is all relative. What things do you do to keep yourself safe?
I think community. Every time that I'm going to a place where I know that I want to be queer, I think for me it's community, my friends.
For me, it goes beyond a space being a queer space because I can still feel unsafe in those queer spaces. Cis, gay men, they make the place feel very unsafe for people who are non-binary, who are trans, who are non-cis, basically. So it's very, very important that you have people around you who affirm your identity and you affirm theirs likewise.
Most of the spaces available, we don't feel safe. Like they are literally like bills against our existence. That's the reason why we try to create safe spaces as much as we can for queer people, like organizing let's say balls. Matthew organizes sometimes like game nights.
I feel like it's high time we as queer people start questioning what these safe spaces are, what safety means. Is it the erasure of a group of people because they are not conforming, or is it a celebration of all of us, all that we have? Because what we have in Nigeria, it's not a celebration of everybody.
Finding spaces where you belong can feel like a constant negotiation. That's why Folo teamed up with friends to form the Pride in Lagos Collective and create their own inclusive space. So I'm on my way to an underground Halloween party/ball, which is being hosted by Fola. Just received a text a few hours before the event with the location, which is a standard security measure. Organising the ball involved a great deal of precaution and care, including having a changing room for attendees who can't risk leaving their home in what they really want to wear. I'm okay, you look amazing.
Thank you very much. Love you, you're gorgeous.
I'm ready to go and see the ball.
Welcome to Ballroom, guys. Act like you're excited to be here. What's up? What's the tea? Now I want you to strut all the way to the judges and sell your face to them. DJ, music please.
Events like these tap into something key, a shared space to live unapologetically and freely, in spite of the outside world, and hopefully to form much-needed bonds amongst people who share the same dream, to be allowed to be themselves wherever they go.